Hello, I am and Y. Before I get started, I want to make a few disclaimers. I am not a pastor. I am not ordained. I'm not a priest. I am just, I'm not even, I don't have a college degree. I do have a high school diploma. That is about as far as my education goes. But hopefully you can see that I am just a layman, and I'm going to try to approach Scripture as such. Hopefully that does not deter you from what I'm going to try to do as a practical exercise to not only keep myself honest and attempt to read the entire Bible, however long that takes me, but I am going to attempt to read a chapter every single day and post a video on it. These will not be expository. They're not going to be grand investigations. This is simply me reading the text. I will be switching between the Masoretic and the Septuagint. I know that might create consternation in some folk, but I will attempt to stay towards the Masoretic. But in certain times, I will appeal to the Septuagint. I will not be going through the apocryphal books. I will be going through the Masoretic literature. So that may be for another time. I would like to go through those books. I think it's worthwhile to know what is there. That does not mean that I consider it canon, nor should you. It is simply just an explorative reading of the Bible, and hopefully through doing this, I will be blessed, you will be blessed, and I hope that the kingdom of heaven will be greater for it. I believe that there is great wisdom, knowledge that can be garnered through this type of exercise. I don't believe I am the only one to do such a thing. However, I feel led to do so. We'll see how far we get, and hopefully you will keep me accountable. So that's my disclaimer for myself. Hopefully that actually creates at least a level playing field between myself and you, and that you don't assume that I'm coming to this thing with great amounts of knowledge from some academic thing outside of what I've garnered through my life. I am going to try to be as non-biased and have as little, as few presuppositions as possible while doing this. I will most likely edit this beginning, but I will attempt to keep everything that I do, not only as a record for myself, like a time capsule, but also to see how I change, possibly theologically, personally, spiritually, all of the above. So, I think it is fair to start this entire endeavor with a prayer that Jesus suggested for us. This is to keep me concise. I feel comfortable praying in other ways, but I feel that this is succinct enough, and I'm not sure if I could do a better job than my Lord. So we'll start, and you can follow or just listen. In this manner, therefore pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Do not lead us into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Or truly, truly. I will be reading in Blue Letter Bible. This allows me to interact with concordances, the Hebraic. I do not know how to read Aramaic or Hebrew. I am not of that culture. So the reason why I'm going to utilize the Septuagint is because there are writings from rabbis to hopefully fill us in on maybe some of the cultural differences that we Westerners may not understand. If I face something that I individually find as maybe confusing or maybe presenting something that I'm not understanding or may seem not congruent, I will probably go to the Septuagint and see what it says or maybe the different reading. This is not to say that I am assuming my conclusion is by any means perfect. This is an explorative thing, so please extend me some grace on this as I attempt to do this. You will notice I will be... I have this on KJV. I'm going to read this in New King James Version. This is not because I personally appeal to the King James Version, though it has very strong validity. I'm not going to try to make those arguments. I'm sure that there's probably going to be reasons to read the King James over the New King James. There's going to be many arguments to be made. I'm going to try to do my best to just simply explore this. So sit back, read along with me, or if you're in the car and you're just listening along, whatever you're doing, I hope that this blesses you. And here we go. Genesis 1, the history of creation is the heading. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. I'm going to pause right here. My personal observation here is what it's stating. This may seem obvious, but maybe not to others. I just want to see this as a moment to remunerate on it a little bit. God is the creator. That's the statement. God has created this world that we exist in. From the light to the darkness, the axioms that we are experiencing in this world, and His Spirit, his mind, His thought was hovering over the faces of the waters of this world. But there is also one other thing that I want to point out, at least that I see as important. It was good. What God creates is good. This will be a repetitive theme throughout the Bible, in my estimation, is that what God makes is good. God called the light day, and the darkness He called night. So the evening and the morning were the first day. Here, I'm going to hit on just maybe a little bit of a contention point. Many people assume that all Christians believe that this was a exact chronological mode in which God moved day by day, and this first day was exactly one day. Like, the world was created within that one day. That's not exactly how I see that. By reading this, it just says He created darkness and light. Before that, time could be very long. However, it does say that there was a day now. So, take that as you will. Then God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." God created land there. Thus God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmaments from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. So the evening and the morning were the second day. Then God said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. Okay, so I misspoke. He was separating the waters from the heavens. Once again, I'm going to be making commentary. I'm sure you've already noticed. I'm probably going to mess up sometimes, but hopefully I correct myself. Please extend me grace as we do this, and hopefully I get better at it. God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, the herb that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. Once again, we see this repetitive, it was good. What God creates is good. So the evening and the morning were the third day. God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and seasons and for days and years. Let them be for lights in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth. And it was so. Then God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. God set them in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. So the evening and the morning were the fourth day. God said, let the waters abound with an abundance of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the face of the firmament of the heavens. So God created great sea creatures and every living thing that moves, with which the waters abound, according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful, and multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let birds multiply on the earth. So here we notice there is a moment of God proclaiming a teleological or purposefulness to these animals, to birds and fish. He's giving them the decree of go out, make more of yourself. So the evening and the morning were the fifth day. Then God said, let the earth bring forth a living creature according to its kind, cattle and creeping thing and beast of the earth, each according to its kind. And it was so. And God made the beast of the earth according to its kind, cattle according to its kind, and everything that creeps on the earth according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. An observation here is that categories. There are categories that are being created. There are separating factors. There are certain particular types of beasts, and they're all, as it says, according to its kind. So this is where we begin to see God create an axiom of differentiation within the world. Simply to say, and I know that this might seem unnecessary to state right now, but basically we start to see a factor of separation of individuality, even within inside of animals. Then God said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all in the earth, and over a creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. This probably could take a lifetime to explore. Making man in our image. So man itself, or humanity, is a representation or a image bearer of God. We are an extension of God in a form. I'm not saying that we are God ourselves, but there is a connection intentionally laid upon man from the beginning, a purposeness or teleological thing, as bearing this thing, the image of God. Here, I'm going to switch over because this is such a complicated thing, and I'm just going to look at what the Septuagint says, and this is Genesis 1:26. So we're going to go down here. And God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and they shall rule over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the heaven, and over the animals, and over all the earth, and over all the creeping things that creep upon the earth." So, as you can see, hopefully I'm creating some a bit of removing the fog of disillusion from what the Septuagint is to the current 66 books of our Western Bible. But here, if you're looking at the screen, I have a rabbi's comments. And so what this is the website is chabad.org or chabad.org. And they have the Septuagint with Rashi's commentary. That is the rabbi who is making this commentary. I can't read Hebrew, so I have it set on English. But let's get back to 126 here. And he comments, "From here," in reference to "Let us make man, from here we learn the humility of the Holy One. Blessed be he." We have some baggage towards this word humility, maybe, but I'm reading that as God bringing himself down to a certain level willingly, since man was created in the likeness of the angels, and they would envy him. He consulted them, and when he judges kings, he consults with his heavenly household. For so we find regarding Ahab that Micah said to him, 1 Kings 22:19, "I saw the Lord seated on his throne, and all the host of heaven were standing by him, on his right and on his left." Now, do left or right apply to him? ? But rather, the passage means that these angels were standing on the right to defend, and these angels were standing on the left to prosecute. So it's a state, not a physical state base, but more of a intention base. Likewise, Daniel 4:14, "By the decree of the destructive angels is the matter, and by the word of the Holy One is the edict." Here too, he took counsel with his heavenly household. He said to them, "Among the heavenly beings, there are some in my likeness. If there are none in my likeness among the earthly beings, there will be envy among the creatures of creation." Then moving on to "Let us make man," even though the angels, did not assist him in his creation, there's an opportunity for the heretics to rebel, to misconstrue the plural, the basis for their heresies. Scripture did not hesitate to teach proper conduct and the trait of humility that a great person should consult with and receive permission from a smaller one. Had it been written, "I shall make man," we would not have learned that he was speaking with his tribunal, but to himself. And the refutation to the heretics is written alongside. "And God created," and it does not say "they created." I know this seems complicated, but we can see kind of one of the cultural differences of Western world, and how we assume certain particulars of God and the heavenly host. Here, the rabbi is making a connection that there is something that God is interacting with that is outside of the world that he's creating, and he is saying that God, not the heavenly host, but God himself, created the world that we exist in. Whether you believe in this entire host or Elohim concept, this is just good to know how the other way to perceive some of these things being said. In our image is, in effect, in our form, after our likeness, to understand and to discern. So it's commenting that the words there are meaning a physical being, but also understanding and to discern. So, like, we have aspects that are similar to God, and this is very important, because if we are these image bearers, then not only does our form, but our minds, the way that we think, are representations of our Creator. And as we'll see throughout Genesis, those things become muddled. They become not as they should be. I will say that. And they shall rule over the fish. This expression contains both the meaning of ruling and the meaning of subservience. If he merits, he rules over the beasts and over the cattle. If he does not merit, he becomes subservient to them, and the beast rules over him. So, once again, God is making a statement of category, hierarchy. So we continuously see in Genesis the separation of things. There is a differentiation between the heavens and the earth, water and land, fish within the seas, but there are multiple seas, beasts of their kind, and there were man and woman. There's a differentiation there. I'm not going to go into what we should assume there on that statement. There's so many other videos to watch on that, and I suggest, if you're interested, go and looking in that, but I'm not going to take the time to go into the nuances of that. So let's continue. Then God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth." All right. This is an incredible verse as well. So we just went from God's image being impressed on man, the distinction between us and animal kind. Here he's giving a purposeness. Be fruitful. That's the first one. And multiply. Do this. Create more of yourself. This is the first purpose of humanity, is to make more of ourselves. I mean, this is not illogical by any means, even in the material concept. What is the best thing that man can do to, perpetuate itself? Well, make more of itself. It's very simple. Fill the earth and subdue it. Now, this wording here, subdue, is I'll read it. The Vav, or a Hebraic or Aramaic, I need to get that correct in my head, is missing, allowing the word to read as such, the masculine singular imperative, to teach you that the male subdues the female, that she should not be a gadabout. And it is also meant to teach you that man, whose way it is to subdue, is commanded to propagate, but not the woman. This is where I'm going to make comment that we can see culturally the difference between Western society and how this word is interpreted. I'm not going to sit and make axiological claims or right and wrong claims here. I read this personally, take the rabbi's comments as you will, that it's orderliness. And here's my argument. God subdued chaos, nothingness, into orderliness. That's the entire chapter. This first chapter is literally God taking nothingness and making it into order. That doesn't mean that it is slavery as we assume in the Western sense. It is creating opportunity, is creating things into something that is categorically useful. That is how I'm understanding it. Once again, take it or leave it. I don't know if that is a presupposition, maybe, or an explanation from my end of culture. However, take that as you will. The second part of this is that humanity fill the earth and subdue it. Put it right. Because the next is to have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the bird of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. This is seen within turning the world into a better place. That's kind of like the call. You are now the rulers, such as God rules in heaven, and we'll see this echoed in later verses. So shall man over the earth. That's kind of what we're getting from this, at least how I'm reading this. Maybe I'm exposing some suppositions that I have about this, but we'll move on. God said, "See, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed. To you it shall be for food. Also to every beast of the earth, to every bird of the air, and to everything that creeps on the earth, in which there is life. I have given every green herb for food." And it was so. Here we see the purposefulness of God, once again, saying that the reason why he created certain things like fruit, beasts, birds, is for food. It has a purpose. That is its initial intent. I'll say it that way. Then God saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. So the evening and the morning were the sixth day. And that is the end of chapter 1. I'm not attempting, well, maybe I am attempting to say some things, but hopefully this was very beneficial for you. I enjoy reading the scripture, but I need to have some accountability to make sure that I get through all of it. Thank you so much for listening to this. Like I said, I am not ordained by man in any form, but hopefully this blesses you throughout the day, as it will most likely do for me. Let's contemplate these things. If I've said something that maybe was contentious, think about it. That doesn't mean that you have to agree with it. Just think about it. Ruminate about it. As I looked at how Rashi said this and subdue it, just think about it. That's, I guess, all I'm asking. This is And Why. I hope that God blesses you today, and have a good one. Until next time.